Welcome to Top Bill's Garage. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to teach you guys how to install a charcoal canister on your 2016 and up Ford Mustang EcoBoost and GT and V6. This has been Ford's location for this charcoal canister for a long time. Several generations have been in this location, so if you guys don't know how or don't know where, I'm about to show you that. So let's go ahead, grab some tools, and get started. Here is the charcoal canister for a 2016 Ford Mustang EcoBoost, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to show you guys how to install this right on your Mustang. It's actually really simple and really easy. This has been Ford's location for several generations. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. Before I show you guys exactly where the location is for this girl, I'm going to show you guys the part number. If you guys look up the part number that's on her original one, you're not going to be able to find it, so you have to search it up by this part number right here, and I guarantee you'll find it. This is the full assembly. This is roughly about 130 bucks, brand new, which this one is very brand new, and it's directly from Ford. If you need one, Ford is going to be your best choice. Let's go show you guys where she's located. If you guys are, I don't want to say big, if you're not big, you really don't have to lift up your vehicle. You're gonna see one hose here, and then you're gonna see this hose going out to here, and then there's also this hose. So this hose with the rubber grommet on it, we're gonna have to trace it back up because this whole hose right here is gonna get replaced for the new one. So what we have to start doing is there's gonna be these white tabs right here, and at the very top, you're gonna push in on it and pull it out, just like that. So now that hose right there will be able to come off, and that's all you gotta do is, now you're gonna have to put a lot of force into pulling this girl off right here. She's not meant to come off very easily. The green one here, the green tabs, you're gonna push them in and then push up, and that's gonna allow those tabs to be lifted, just like your purge valve. That one comes off just like that. Now as far as the one with the rubber boot on it, for now we're just gonna pull off the rubber boot because remember, this whole hose right here is gonna be replaced. Then you have a sensor that's right here. It's usually mounted on the bottom, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna see the clip right here, that little black clip. Pull it down, pull it off. Yours might be a little bit harder, but I have confidence you all can do it. Now that we have this hose off, this hose off, and this hose off, and the pigtail off, now we're gonna take a 10 millimeter. We're gonna take this bolt off on this side, and then there's going to be one on the other side. So now we're up where the pigtail's at, and it's going to be two clips right here, one here and one here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pry those off, and be careful because these clips, once they break, you got to replace them. And you're gonna take the one off on the metal bracket that's right here. The best thing to do is definitely get an extension, something that's gonna be long enough for you to reach up on these ports. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna get my extension for the little red handle, and we're gonna go ahead and remove this screw here, and then this screw on the other side, and this thing will come right out. All right, now that the commercial break is over, ladies and gentlemen, what we're gonna go ahead and do, you're gonna grab your big wrench. I was gonna get the one for the small one, then I realized, you know what? The big one has more grip, and it's something that I can actually use. So there's one. You're gonna want to hold it now because if you take this one out, this thing's gonna want to come flying. It's gonna want to come flying towards you. You really don't want this thing coming to flying towards us, so make sure that you hold it with one hand, and then go ahead and start on loosening the last bolt. The last bolt has been removed. What you're going to do is slide it out. and place her on the floor. That way you can get back underneath your car. We're gonna go ahead and grab the new one. The very last hose towards the diff. You're gonna push in on the two black little holders that are holding it in. Push it out. And well, bam. And this part's just hold it into the frame. So that just comes right out. We're gonna use the little aluminum stuff that's on it right here. So I'm gonna take mine off, and then we're gonna put it on the new one. And that's all you have to do is this side right here. Just goes in that hole that's on the frame, and then it clips right back into its spot again. Here's your new one. And this is exactly what you're gonna do. So what you're gonna do with it, you're gonna take it, and there's two clips that are on this side. Slide her in. And then these two right here just get pushed up. And yes, the new one will be a little bit more stiffer with the new clips, which is a good thing because you really don't want this falling on you. I'm gonna push up on this one. You can move this hose freely, so it doesn't really matter. You just have to get it out of your way so you can get the nut on there. And go to the other side. So now we are 100% sure that this thing is not going to fall on your face, because that would not be pretty. And yes, it will suck. So now you're going to grab the hose, and the hose, it will go all the way up. And the little aluminum stuff that's just like that. Then you're gonna clip that hose back into the spot. And now that hose should be inside your firewall now. The next thing you're gonna wanna do before you start tightening it all the way up is grab yourself some connector grease, connecting grease. You don't really need a lot. You don't need as much as I have on my finger right now. Then find the plug. Plug it back in. Now we have power. Now we're gonna go to the green one. And the green one gets plugged into this one right here. Push all the way up in it. Lock it in space. Then this last one right here. That one gets pushed all the way in and locked. Now you start to know that everything that you just did right now, it's all secure. Your lock rings are tight. Make sure that this one's closed. Make sure that this lock ring is closed. And make sure that is going into your frame. Now once you do that, and all the cords right here are done, the last thing, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to do is, yes, you guessed it, we gotta tighten these back down. So I usually do the ones on the outer side first. Okay, now those are done. Now we're gonna jump over to the last remaining one, which are the two big, or small ones, I guess you could say. They're not really that big. Stick that screw in that hole. Like I said, if you break the tabs on these, you can easily pull them off and get some from any hardware store, which most of the time you're gonna break them. They're not very built that well, and they will break. Your charcoal canister has been replaced. Now I'm gonna go over a few things with you real quick on why you would want to replace your charcoal canister and what symptoms to look out for if it is your charcoal canister. Sometimes you'll get a check engine light for this girl. But let's go ahead, go over to the front side of the camera so I can talk. Why would you want to replace your charcoal canister? Well, I'm about to tell you guys something about these bad boys right here. This was invented to keep the fumes from vaporizing in the atmosphere. This has charcoal in it, which you already know filters your guys' fuel. This is just another piece that you have to have for emissions. If you do not have this, you will fail emissions. So make sure that you go through all over your car to make sure that every single emission unit on your vehicle is ready to go. There's also ways to do it. You can get a code reader, go to the IM reading, and it will tell you if your car is ready or not for emission testing. The best way to find out what needs to be replaced, what doesn't need to be replaced. Why did we replace the charcoal canister, and what symptoms was I really having? Well, mine is currently still going on. Even though I replaced the charcoal canister, I've done a lot of stuff to the Mustang and still can't figure out why it sounds like a vacuum leak. But this was one of the reasons why right here. This charcoal canister is 100% bad. I've already tested it. Everything about it is just bad. So the way that you can prevent these from going bad is don't fill your gas tank. The minute that gas nozzle clicks off, no more filling. If you're not going on a long trip, don't fill your tank completely full. That's one bad thing. You don't need it if you're not going on a long trip. If you need it, then fill it up. If you don't do it, because you're gonna harm your charcoal canister. Now, what this charcoal canister can do is it can make your car run lean, which nobody wants. Going lean, if you do not know what lean and rich is, there'll be another video for that. Let me know if you guys want that video. These things can cause check engine lights. There's 3 codes that it can pop. I'll be listing those 3 codes right here. A lot of the codes that will pop are all gonna be evap rating. No matter what code you see, if it's the purge valve, then it's gonna direct right towards the purge valve. The charcoal canister, it will direct you right to the charcoal canister. You just have to know how to read the codes. Understand them, study them, figure it out before you spend. Because this unit right here is about a $300 unit. And the best way to actually tell if your charcoal canister is also bad, that hasn't been replaced in the lifetime of the vehicle, depending on the year, I would definitely recommend replacing it. And the other way that you can definitely find out if it needs to be replaced, you got this port here, which is your vent port. This also has a sensor on it, which that sensor will communicate with your computer. Then you have these 2 vent hoses right here. So if you were to sniff into one of these vent hoses and you smell fuel fumes, very, very strong gas fumes, then you know that your charcoal canister is no good. It's not cycling or filtering the fuel vapors that it's supposed to filter. It's not supposed to smell like very, very strong odor of fuel. The new one didn't smell like it. The new one didn't smell like anything. It's gonna have a very slight smell of fuel, but if it smells really, really bad, that means your whole charcoal canister is clogged and it's time to get a new one. You also want to go over every single hose that is connected to your charcoal canister. If you're not replacing the hoses, but you are replacing the charcoal canister, you want to make sure that all your hoses are connected and no slashes, gashes, anything like that are burnt. Sometimes these things can get burnt or a rock can get stuck into them and that will cause evap leak, and you definitely don't want evap leak because, like I said, that is considered a vacuum leak, which will make your car run very, very lean. Go over your car when you're doing stuff like this. Make sure that every other port is well connected. Nothing on the rubber is damaged. Make sure that all the plastic wear that is connected to it is 100% looking great. And you can also test these out too. If you have an air compressor, this is what I can do and what I can suggest for you guys. Is the best way is to cap off one end and you're gonna stick it in a bucket of water, put the air gun through the other side and blow into it. That will show you exactly how much strength this thing can actually hold. And if it blows that end piece that you guys connected to it, then you know it holds the pressure very, very well and there is no cracks on that line. You can continue to use it. But if it's fragile, be very, very careful. Fragile will break. If it is and you're looking at it and you're like, damn, that thing does not look great, replace it. I guarantee you, you're gonna save a lot of trouble, a lot of headache, a lot of money if you just it as it comes on. Don't just, oh, check engine light's on, I'm just gonna clear it. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, clearing a check engine light does not clear your check engine light. It is stored into what is called your PCM. Your PCM and your ECU communicate with all the sensors that are inside your vehicle. Now, if you just go, I'm just gonna clear it, that sensor is gonna go, oh wait, we're going through the drive cycle, there's something wrong here, this sensor is still not fixed. What happened? You cleared me, but obviously I am still storing it because I know you didn't fix me. You really wanna make sure that if you are doing a job for anybody or anybody in your family, if you wanna, go, oh, I'm gonna put it off, I'm gonna do it next week, I'll just tell them that I already did it already, and then clear the code, that code is definitely gonna come back. If it is a problem, that problem is gonna be saved. Some places, when they plug it up, they can actually scan through all your primary, all your previous, all your permanent, all your codes that you've had before, anything. They can find out exactly what is going on with your car. And if it's, especially if it's emissions, you're not passing. That's a direct fail. And then you have to fix it, then you have to go see your freaking DMV office, you have to wait for an inspector, and then you have to get your car inspected, and nobody wants a headache like that. Just make sure that when you do a job, do it correctly. Don't just delete a code and think that it's just gonna stay off forever. It is not. I'm telling you right now, the first 100 miles that you drive with that car, that check engine light's gonna come right back on again because the drive cycle is finished. I normally do, if a check engine light is on, I repair the part, I drive it through the drive cycle, and if it doesn't delete it, then I will delete it, and then I'll drive it again for another 100 miles, and if it comes back on, then I know for a fact it wasn't that part. That means I'd continue diagnosing the problem because obviously that part that I installed was not the issue. Now, there's several codes out there that have very, very, very high meetings. A lot of them will point you directly to it. A lot of them are a whole damn list of what you need to check. So you like fuel pump, fuel injectors, your fuel rail, your fuel pressure, all of this other stuff, it's gonna tell you to check because that is directed to that code. This right here is definitely something really important. I just wanted to tell you guys what to expect. If this thing goes bad, your car will sometimes stall out. It won't start because it can't filter your gas fumes. It's the same thing as pretty much when your purge valve goes bad. When your purge valve goes bad, your car stalls out. Sometimes it won't even start. This thing, same thing. If this goes bad, your car will not start most of the time. Make sure that you're diagnosing the same problem for the right problem and don't just replace it just to think it's that problem. I'm still gonna go over a few more lines on silver here because I know that definitely there's a leak somewhere in this beast. And you always consider too, when you're doing your spark plug changes, I know this is not evap related, but make sure that you guys are doing compression testing. It's very, very smart and it will keep your knowledge a little bit more up on the books, knowing how to do it every time you guys do a spark plug change. It's good knowledge to know, very good to learn. So if you don't know how to do it, I have a video on that as well. But that pretty much includes the charcoal canister. Like I said, I'm going to put all the codes right here. So that way you guys will know what codes are for this girl here or for that girl in there. Either one of those will pop that code.